Hi, Jason Canola, GQue Barbecue. If you're like me, then you crave a good cheesesteak sandwich. Today I'm going to show you a very simple, easy way to make one on your grill. If you want to see how we do that, it's coming up right now. Here at GQue Barbecue, we are all about the grilling and chilling lifestyle. If that's something that interests you, smash down that subscription button, hit that bell notification, and you won't miss any of our videos. So I absolutely love a great cheesesteak. What I love about them is there's so many different ways you can make them. There's lots of different cheeses, lots of different toppings, lots of different meats you can use. However, what I enjoy most is razor thin sliced ribeye steak. In this video, I'm going to show you an easy way to do it at your house if you don't have a fancy deli slicer. Just like I did with grinding your own hamburger meat. If you want to see that video, go ahead and click that iCard up above. Today I'm going to be using a ballistic griddle. I love the ballistic griddle for making things like cheesesteaks on the Weber kettle. I've got a clean rag. I'm just going to wipe it down. You want this hot, but you don't want it scorching hot. If this gets too hot, it could warp the griddle. So we want to get kind of a medium to medium high heat. You notice I put it into this holder of briquettes. That's going to allow me to move it around if I want to move it around later. It gives me the ability to control where my heat's coming from. I'm going to put the carriage of briquettes over here on the left-hand side so I know when I'm cooking that this side's going to be my hot side. So I'm a big believer in you eat with your eyes first. So for the peppers, I like to use as many different colors as possible. Today I'm using a red, yellow, and green bell pepper. In order to get them chopped up nice and thin, the first thing I'm going to do is remove both the top and the bottom, break it open, and then get this white pith from the inside removed and slice them up into nice thin pieces. For the onions today, you can use whatever you like. I like the yellow sweet onions. To get these nice and thin, I'm going to remove both the top and the bottom, similar to what I did to the bell pepper, and make a cut right down the middle, and it makes them very easy then to slice into very thin pieces. Today I'm using baby bella mushrooms, that's short for portobello. I prefer these good brown, earthy tasting mushrooms to the traditional white ones. These are already pre-sliced. I went ahead and washed them and they're ready to go. Nice clean griddle. I'm going to add some oil. When choosing an oil for these kind of cooks, you want to use something with a high smoke point like canola or vegetable. And what that means is it doesn't get smoky until it reaches a very high temperature. Stay away from things like olive oil. Those are used for salad dressings. Nice sizzle. So the onions and mushrooms are going to take the longest to cook, so I'm going to get those going first. Let them go till they get a brown color on them before I add the peppers. I'm going to season them up today using the rub. When I say you can put this stuff on anything, I really mean it. Not only is it great on pork, beef, and chicken, but it goes great on veggies too. So our onions and mushrooms are done. I can tell because they're nice and soft. They got a good brown color to them. We're ready to add our peppers. I'm going to push these over to the cool side of the griddle, add a little more oil, bring the peppers on. We're looking for the same texture on the peppers that we were going for on the mushrooms and onions. Once they get nice and soft, that's when they'll be done. I'm going to season the peppers up with some GQue rub as well because it goes good on everything. So our peppers are nice and soft. I'm ready to move these guys over to the cool side and make some room for the star of our show today, that beautiful, thinly sliced ribeye steak. For our steaks today, we're going with the one and only ribeye steaks. They are perfect for making cheesesteaks in my opinion. These are all USDA choice steaks. However, look at this marbling up here. This is the ribeye cap. And you got excellent marbling going on around here. These are very, very, very high-end choice steaks. Remember, choice is about 55% of all cattle. However, not all of them are equal. So look in the supermarket when you're going through for the ones that got all of this marbling in there so you can get a high-end choice for the same price you'd be paying for a low-end choice. I stuck these in the freezer for about 45 minutes so they would get hard, so they'd be easy to slice thin. It's important to get a nice thinly cut piece of meat to make an awesome cheesesteak. You can go ahead and have your butcher do this if they're capable of doing it. All they need is a meat slicer However, if they can't, it's nothing you can't do at your house. If you have a big pocket of fat, which you will with better cuts of meat, go ahead and take that off, but be careful not to cut off a bunch of meat. You want to get mostly fat. It'll allow for a much more tender, much more tastier sandwich. Nice thin piece of ribeye steak. No thicker than this. If for whatever reason the cutting doesn't go the way you want it to, just cut it up into pieces that you can manage. So you cut it in half and you can just shave off slices too. That works fine. Just the key is to keep it nice and thin. Apply a little more oil. So the steak, I'm going to season that up with some salt and freshly ground black pepper. A couple of tips when cooking the steak here on the griddle. It's sliced thin, so it's not going to take long to cook. You got to keep an eye on it because you don't want it to overcook. If you overcook it, it's going to dry out and not taste good. Once it turns from pink until that light brown color, it's time to come off. I'm also going to try to get little bits of char on there because that's where all that really good flavor is coming from. As that starts to cook, you can begin breaking the pieces apart. So the meat has been cooked all the way through on both sides. You can see it's still very juicy. This is the time where we want to finish it off. If we allow this to continue to cook, even as little as 4 or 5 minutes, all of that wet juiciness is going to dry up and the meat's going to really tighten up and be tough. We want a soft, really delicate bites of beef, cheese, and vegetables. And the only way to do that is to pull it off at the right time. Add back our veg. Get it all mixed up. So we got the beef mixed back in with the veggies. Look how pretty that looks. Different color peppers, the onions, the mushrooms, the beef. These are going to make for some fantastic cheesesteaks. So now that that's all incorporated, I'm going to pile off what I think would be sandwiches. Next, it's time for the cheese. Use whatever cheese you like. Today I'm using thinly sliced provolone, and I also have some pepper jack cheese. I'm going to do a couple of cheesesteaks with provolone only, one with pepper jack only, and one with a combo of pepper jack and provolone. Man, I wish you guys can smell this. The aromas coming off of this griddle right now are absolutely fantastic. I got some butter that I'm going to go ahead and butter the insides of the sub roll. Put it on the grill so we get a good toasty bun. I'm going to add a little bit of water to the griddle to create a bunch of steam. I'm going to trap that in with this big bowl, and that's going to help melt our cheese. When I pull this bowl off, we're going to see a bunch of melty, cheesy goodness on these cheesesteaks. So this is exactly what we're going for in the melted cheese, what we have in these two over here. I'm going to let this guy go for a little bit longer. We got our good toasty bun. Gonna go right in here and get our beautiful cheesesteak. Set that guy right in there, just like that. Wow, fits perfect, nice and snug. Cheesesteaks, I could eat you every single day. We are certainly going to cook some more cheesesteak videos. If you don't want to miss those, click my face right there to subscribe. Also, YouTube has selected the very best video I have made for you right there. Go ahead and click that video to see the next one. Jason Goodall, GQue Barbecue, and I'll see you on the next one.